let's talk about how to come up with the perfect morning ritual for you. I have been doing a morning ritual almost every single morning for the last 7.5 years, and it's completely changed my life. I find that every single morning that I do my ritual, I just show up in the world so much more focused, so much more present, intentional. I fill up my cup first so I can show up bigger in the world, and I'm really clear of what would make the day a win. And so if you notice that you're waking up in the mornings and you are pressing snooze on your alarm, and the only thing that you really have time for before you have to jump into work or get out the door is like brushing your teeth and changing, what happens is you immediately put yourself in this reactionary state. Especially if you're sleeping in, you're also creating this state immediately of scarcity, a scarcity of time and being in a rush. And that will oftentimes snowball into the rest of your day. And so when you create a pocket of time just for yourself, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour, you can really fill up your cup first so that you can show up the way that you want to show up in the world. So let's talk about how to create the perfect morning ritual for you, because my morning ritual may not be the exact one that is going to be for you. Step number 1 is you want to pick from the sample platter. So there's many things as part of your morning ritual that you're going to want to do to really fill up and nourish yourself. Some of those things may be, and you're going to want to pick which ones will most resonate with you. Meditation is one of them. Going on a walk and connecting in nature, breath work, doing a cold shower to wake yourself up and doing cold therapy. Getting some movement in, whether it's exercise or doing a quick yoga routine, journaling, affirmations, reading some sort of book that is personal development related, maybe listening to a podcast that is really supportive to you based on your goals and your vision for your life. These are all options and possibilities, but what I recommend is you start by picking 3 or 5 of those that really resonate with you. The second step in creating your own personal morning ritual is you want to make sure that you're stacking these activities in a way that's going to be most supportive for you. So for example, I used to read these books around morning routines, and I would try to follow everyone else's. And in a couple examples, people would share how the first thing that they would do was wake up and meditate. And so I tried doing that, but then I would wake up and I would try to meditate and I'd just go back to sleep. And so I realized that meditation wasn't the first thing that I wanted to start my morning ritual with. And I noticed a lot of resistance around it where, although I love the feeling that I have after meditation, it does take me some time to get into it. So I actually put that near the end of my morning ritual. And instead, the very first thing that I do as soon as I wake up in the morning is I put on my workout gear and I go for a light walk. I love to walk, and when I go on my 10-minute walk, I listen to something motivational, motivational video and audio every single morning, and I listen to my vision that I have recorded of myself every single morning. And I always think about those first couple steps almost as like a treat. Like I get really excited to do them, therefore I'm motivated to do my morning ritual. Tip number 3 is to figure out the amount of time in your morning ritual that's going to be most supportive to you based on your lifestyle. If you got kids or you got to wake up and start work earlier, it may not be realistic to have an hour or 2-hour morning ritual. Honestly, 10 minutes, even if you start with 10 minutes, that is enough. My typical morning ritual that I do is about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, But I have a morning ritual that's 10 minutes that I know that even if I'm traveling or I gotta wake up earlier, I do something. And so discover how much time is gonna be most supportive to you. Ideally, the sweet spot is around 30 minutes if you can bake that into your lifestyle and just wake up a little bit earlier. Now, a couple tips when you're creating your morning ritual. The first tip is to use the phrase or the words ritual or practice over routine. I used to use the term routine, and I noticed that it's actually a low vibrational word, and I would go through the motions. So I wasn't actually, it was almost like this checklist that I had to do every single morning, versus when I shifted to it being a ritual and a practice, I show up a lot more intentional to it. Tip number 2 is remembering that the whole goal, the whole purpose is to nourish you and fill up your cup. So this isn't meant to be a checklist like, oh my God, I gotta meditate, and then I gotta breathe, and then I gotta do affirmations, and I gotta journal and read, and then I gotta take a shower and do all these things. The state in which you show up as doing your morning ritual is more important than the type of activities that you do. So the goal is to be intentional. And then the other tip is to, again, remember that there's no one size fits all morning ritual. If you know for yourself that what has you feel a lot more present and intentional throughout the day is 5 minutes of breath work versus 5 minutes of meditating, try that. Sample it out. I have been doing a morning ritual, like I shared, for over 7 years, and it took me several years to just find what rhythm works best for me. Now, I know you'd probably be wondering, even though you're creating your morning ritual that's gonna be the perfect one for you, what is my morning ritual? And I'll share with you. The first thing that I do is I wake up, I put my feet on the ground, and I just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I start my morning with gratitude. I put on my workout gear, and like I shared, I go on a walk, and I listen to something motivational, and I listen to my vision on my 10-minute walk. When I get home, I lay out on my grass on a yoga mat, and I'll do about 5 to 10 minutes of breath work, and then I'll go into about a 10-minute meditation. After that, I go back inside and I will journal on what I want to focus on for the day, what I'm grateful for, what my outcomes I want for my day to be. Then from there, I'll typically either read a hardcover book or I will start to get ready for my day, and I'll be listening to a podcast. As I'm getting ready in the mirror and just putting on my makeup or doing my hair, I say my affirmations. So I have positive, affirmative statements that I say every single day to just remind myself of who I'm becoming in the world. From there, I'll head on over to the kitchen. I'll drink my morning juice, start making my morning coffee, and take my supplements. And then from there, I typically start my day. So I know it sounds like a lot, but oftentimes with some of these things, I'm doing many of them at once, but I've just found for me that grounds me into myself, helps me be present, and really show up for the day. So I'm curious to hear from you. Do you have a morning ritual that you do every single morning? Comment yes or no in the comments below. And if you don't have one after watching this video, comment and let me know if this is something that you see yourself implementing in the next week.